Okay, hi everyone. This is Gemara review video number 9. We are still on Berakhot Daled Amud Bet, and we are talking about the question: is there Semichat geulah tefillah at night during Mariv? Do we connect geulah to tefillah at night, or do we only do it in Shacharit, only in the morning tefillah? We saw in the last Gemara, it's a machloket of Rabbi Yochanan and Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi, and the Gemara had ended last time asking kind of what were they arguing about? Is it a point of logic, svara, or were they both arguing over different interpretations of a pasuk, of a kra? So what the Gemara is going to do here is going to kind of go point by point. Okay, what was the svara argument for Rabbi Yochanan? What was it for Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi? What was the pasuk interpretation for Rabbi Yochanan? And what was the pasuk interpretation for Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi? So let's begin. Ibayit ema svara. Here's kind of just repeating the answer that we saw before. If you want to say that it was svara, that really they were arguing about svara, about logic. De Rabbi Yochanan savar geulah meorta name have, ella geulah me'aliyata lo have ella ad safra. And we can put a comma after have before ella, and we can put a period over here right before Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi starts talking. So here, for the logic argument, what Rabbi Yochanan is talking about when he says geulah, when he says redemption, is he's talking about the redemption from Egypt, Yetziat Mitzrayim, which features prominently in kind of the psukim or the context before the bracha of Ga'al Yisrael, both at Marav and Shachar, which is part of our connecting that idea of geulah, of redemption, before Shemona Esrei. We're really kind of mentioning Yetziat Mitzrayim. If you think about it, that connects a lot to the themes in the last paragraph of Shema as well. So what's Rabbi Yochanan saying over here? Rabbi Yochanan savar, Rabbi Yochanan held, geulah meorta name have. Meorta means night, or orta means night, and nami means also, and have means haya, it was. So Rabbi Yochanan is saying there was also a geulah at night, meaning Yetziat Mitzrayim really started at night. And we can think about the Prince of Egypt imagery of, and also the Torah's imagery of, Paro coming to Moshe in the middle of the night and saying, you guys have to get out, you guys have to leave, and Makat Bechorot. So Rabbi Yochanan is saying that the geulah from Mitzrayim really started at night. Ella, even so, geulah ma'aliyata means like the ideal or the highest level, right? Like aliyah, the highest or the complete level of geulah, lo have ella ad safra, did not happen, right? Lo haya, until boker, until morning. Safra here means morning. So what Rabbi Yochanan is saying is, yes, the pinnacle or the main part of the geulah from Yetziat Mitzrayim happened in the morning, but still, it started at night. And since it started at night, that's enough to trigger in us kind of an obligation to do Semichat geulah tefillah, of connecting redemption to Shemona Esrei as kind of a way to thank God or to acknowledge God for Yetziat Mitzrayim. So kind of, again, everyone's going to agree across the board that, of course, we do it for morning, right? Because that's when the real geulah happened from Mitzrayim. But if it just started at night, even though it wasn't fully complete, Rabbi Yochanan is saying that's enough, right? Geulah me'orta nami have, there was still a geulah at night, and that's enough to trigger this idea of having to do Semichat geulah tefillah. So that's the opinion of Rabbi Yochanan, right? We can put this over here. And now we'll see the opinion of Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi. So I'm going to continue highlighting in purple over here once we have the second opinion. Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi savar. So what did Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi hold? Kevan de lo have ela mitzafra lo have geulah me'alita. And I'm going to put a comma again right before ella, and we're going to put a period before the ibayit ema, because we know that's going to be introducing the other answer, that maybe it's about a pasuk. Okay, and Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi held, Kevan means since. So Kevan, I'm sorry, I put the comma in the wrong place. Okay, here we go. Sorry. Sometimes we put commas before ella, but here we don't. Here we're going to put it after Safra. So what's Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi saying? He's saying Kevan means since. Kevan de lo have ella mitzafra. Remember, lo have means lo haya. It wasn't. So since there wasn't a real redemption until Safra, until Boker, until the morning, since the real Yetziat Mitzrayim happened in the morning, then his second part, he says, so therefore, what's the status of the kind of redemption at night? Lo have geulah me'alita. The redemption at night was not a geulah me'alita. Me'alita, we said, is the ideal, the high point. So Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi is saying, since the real redemption happened in the morning, that's the real redemption. And the redemption at night was not a geulah me'alita. It wasn't a ideal or kind of complete geulah. What Rav Yeshua ben Levi is saying is that we only kind of acknowledge complete geulah, complete redemption. So in the morning, of course, we're going to do Semichat, geulah, tefillah. But at night for Mariv, it wasn't a complete geulah. It wasn't a geulah aliyata. So why would we say Semichat, geulah, tefillah? We don't. And that's kind of, again, the debate between Rav Yeshua ben Levi and Rabbi Yochanan if they were talking about logic. And now, the Gemara is going to go back in and repeat the second answer, or the second option. Ve'i bait ema kra. And if you want to say that they were arguing over a pasuk, V'shnehem mikra echad darshu. Dichtiv. Here we can put kind of a comma over here. So we'll translate. So if you want to say they were arguing over a pasuk, a kra, V'shnehem, and both of them, both Rav Yeshua ben Levi and Rav Yochanan, mikra, meaning a pasuk, echad, meaning one, darshu, interprets. So what we're saying over here is both Rav Yeshua ben Levi and Rabbi Yochanan were interpreted the same pasuk. They interpreted the same pasuk, dichtiv, as it says in the pasuk, b'shechacha b'kumecha, when you lie down and when you get up, which we see over here is a pasuk we've always seen as a source for why you have to say Kriyat Shema in the morning and the evening. So this pasuk is going to be the one that both Rabbi Yochanan and Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi argue about, but they're both going to use the same pasuk. They're going to interpret it, though, in different ways. So now the Gemara is going to kind of explain first what Rav Yochanan is going to say, and then it's going to explain what Rav Yeshua ben Levi says. So we're going to go back to highlighting over here in pink as we see their opinion. So here we go. Rav Yochanan Savar, Mekish Shkiva Lakima. Makima Kriyat Shema V'achar Kach Tefillah. Av Shkiva Nami Kriyat Shema V'achar Kach Tefillah. And we'll stop here. We're going to do a lot of kind of put a period over here. It's supposed to be a period after tefillah. We're going to put a comma after it's supposed to be a comma after kima. And it's a little bit hard for me to highlight here just the way my iPad is, but I really would love to put a circle around ma, but I don't know how to move the cursor that's over there. But we're going to try to underline whenever we see kind of ma and af, which are going to be very important words. We're going to see them down here as well. So what are we talking about over here? Let's kind of explain what's going on. So Rabbi Yochanan held that he was mekish shkiva lakima. Mekish, as we said, means creating a hekesh, creating a link. And I'm going to kind of write this over here. A hekesh equals a link when you kind of make a connection or a link between two words in a pasuk. And it's a way something the rabbis used to do to learn different halachot out of the Torah. So saying Rabbi Yochanan says you make a hekesh between shkiva, between lying down, and kima, between getting up. So that's the connection he learns out of b'shechacha u'bekumecha. He's drawing a connection between these two words. So what's the connection he's going to draw? So we have a comma after kima. Ma means just as, and af means so too. And these two words always come along whenever we're making a hekesh to explain it. So Rav Yochanan is saying he's going to make a hekesh between those two words of a connection between lying down and getting up. So ma kima kriyat shema ve'achar kach, that stands for achar kach tefillah. Just as for kima, when you get up in the morning for shacharit, what's the order? You say kriyat shema, and afterwards achar kach tefillah, and afterwards you pray Shemona Esrei. Af, so too shkiva nami. So too for lying down. What's going to be the order of prayers for Tfilat Arvit? Kriyat Shema ve'achar kach tefillah. That's also for lying down. You're going to do Shema first, and then you're going to do Shemona Esrei. Meaning Rabbi Yochanan is saying, again, according to his opinion, that it's the same order, morning and night. Shema and then Shemona Esrei. That's what we learn from that connection between b'shechacha and bekumecha, that the order of prayers for lying down, for getting up, really in the morning, is going to be the same order for prayers lying down. So you always have Shema before Shemona Esrei, and you do Semichat, geulah, tefillah, both at night and during the day. However, Rav Yeshua ben Levi, now we'll highlight in pink, he's going to use a hekesh, but he's going to learn it differently. He's going to learn a different conclusion. Rav Yeshua ben Levi savar mekish shkiva lakima. So Rav Yeshua ben Levi holds that you also connect, you make a hekesh between lying down and getting up. But what does he learn from this hekesh? Makima kriyat shema samuch lemitato, af shkiva nami kriyat shema samuch lemitato. So he says over here, just as kima in the morning when you get up, you say kriyat shema, samuch means next to. You say kriyat shema next to your bed. Now, I don't think this means like literally next to your bed, but meaning like the first thing you do when you get up, or one of the first things you're going to be doing close to like you're getting out of bedtime is Shema. So too Shkiva, so too when you lie down in Mariv. Also, the last thing you should do, almost like a bracket close to your bed, is Kriyat Shema, right? You should also say Kriyat Shema samuch lamitato. So meaning again, according to Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi, in the morning, you wake up, Shema, then Shemona Esrei, so you have Semichat, geulah, tefillah. But at night, you do Shemona Esrei first, then Shema, then you go to sleep. And that's kind of like how he learns a connection, that like, what's the similarity between getting up and going to sleep, that you always have Shema next to your bed. So that means he flips the order for Mariv. Shema comes after Shemona Esrei, and you do not do Semichat, geulah, tefillah. So there's a lot going on here. So let's look at some charts to kind of figure out what's going on. Actually, just before we look at the charts, I want you to just look at Rashi. I know we did in one of the classes, so if we didn't do it in your class, you can just skip the next like 30 seconds. But Rashi had commented on the fact that both Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi and Rabbi Yochanan agree that you do Semichat, geulah, tefillah in the morning, because that's when the main part of Yetziat Mitzrayim happened. And Rashi explains in his Dibur Matchil Zeh Somech, like that you connect, V'kol sheken de shacharit, like even more so for shacharit, that we of course agree that you have to say you have to do Semichat, geulah, tefillah. De ikar geulat Mitzrayim b'shacharit have, because the ikar, the main part of the geulah from Mitzrayim, happened in shacharit, happened in the morning. Kidduchtiv, and he quotes a pasuk actually from Bamidbar, Mimacharat haPesach yetzu b'nei Yisrael. And we see this from the pasuk in Bamidbar, Perek Lamed Gimel, that the day after Pesach, Mimacharat haPesach, the day after. That day of bringing the Korban, Bnei Yisrael had left Egypt. So kind of again, that next day, that morning, that was really the Ikar Yetziat Mitzrayim. And that's why both Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi and Rabbi Yochanan would do Semichat, geulah, shacharit. They really only disagree about Mariv. Okay, let's look at some fun charts to figure out what's going on between Rabbi Yochanan and Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi. So this was one of the charts that was in the worksheets, and I filled it out for you guys, just so you can go over stuff. So, is there Semichat, geulah, tefillah during the day in shacharit in the morning? Both Rabbi Yochanan and Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi say yes, because that's when the main part of Yetziat Mitzrayim happened. Is there Semichat, geulah, tefillah at night in Mariv? Rabbi Yochanan would say yes, right? Because even though it wasn't the main part of the geulah, it still started. And Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi says no, because we only really count the main geulah, which was the morning. What is the order of tefillot at night? What comes first, Shema or Shemona Esrei? Rabbi Yochanan says at night you do Shema, then Shemona Esrei, as he is Shemona Esrei. And Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi flips it, and he does Shemona Esrei and then Shema. What is the logic explanation? What is the Sfar explanation for what they are arguing about? Let's try to do a fill in the blank here and like a circle the right answer. So even though the main redemption from Egypt was in the morning, this is according to Rabbi Yochanan, since the redemption from Egypt started at night, you should, so we're kind of circling should and crossing out, or cross out should not, right? That's what we're choosing. You should do Semichat, geulah, tefillah at night. However, for Rav Yeshua ben Levi, since the main redemption from Egypt was really only in the morning, the redemption in Egypt at night was not a complete redemption. Then, according to Rav Yeshua ben Levi, you should not do Semichat, geulah, tefillah at night. And that is the Svara explanation. And now, if we want to look at what was the pasuk explanation, so we have Rabbi Yochanan on the left, Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi on the right. Rabbi Yochanan would say the pasuk says b'shifacha b'kumecha, when you get up, and when you lie down. When you get up, we connect lying down to getting up with a hekesh by making that link. Just as this is the ma and the af argument, right? And I just want to put these kind of over here. We should know these words, ma and af, right? Which is just as. And so too, which always come with a hekesh. So just as was getting up during the tefillah of shacharit, we say Shema before Shemona Esrei. So too, with lying down with the tefillah of Arvit at night, we will also say Shema before Shemona Esrei. It's a direct parallel of the order between shacharit and Ma'ariv. And what does Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi say? Same hekesh, right? We connect getting up and lying down, or lying down and getting up. Just as with getting up during the tefillah of shacharit, you say Shema near your bed, meaning you say it first before Shemona Esrei. So too with lying down during the tefillah of Arvit, you would say Shema near your bed, meaning you say it last after Shemona Esrei. And he has kind of those brackets of Shema going on, smushing sandwiching the Shemona Esrei in the middle. And here finally, just the last two slides, feel free to pause. It's just, again, the English translation that we typed out in class. If this is helpful, you can just see, again, it starts off explaining the svara. So I'll just, you can just feel free to pause the screen if you want to copy it. And here's the next screen, right, explaining the argument over the pasuk and Rav Yochanan's explanation over the pasuk. And finally, Rav Yeshua ben Levi's argument over the pasuk. And again, this idea of the hekesh, which is a link between two different words, right? In a pasuk, we draw a connection, and ma'anaf just as so too. And here's drawing here of the b'shefecha b'kumecha lying down and getting up, and we have that hekesh, we have that connection. Okay. That is the second part of the Gemara on Daf Dalet Amud Bet about Semichat geulah tefillah, and we will end this here.